throwing yourself at the room and trying to accomplish everything you can for
Right,
them.
yeah.
So I think that's something that we can get to, especially in this learn phase, but I like
Mhm.
that we have like a big block of student goals here that
Mhm.
we can work on. And the reality is we can't work on all of them at
I
once.
know.
So we have to pick a goal, and when we pick goals, in this sort of cycle, we call them peers goals.
Mhm.
So P stands for powerful. That means that, and I had,
This is-
yeah, this is your note page, by the way. So you can write it anywhere you want in the notes section. P stands for powerful, and that just simply means like it has an impact on kids. And one way you might think of that is like if you wanted kids to think back and say the most impactful thing about Ms. Hellick's class was blank, you know, it's powerful for them. It has an impact on them beyond your classroom. The first E is easy. That just means like we're not going to set some SMART goal that's so complicated to measure that we can't figure out if we hit it or not.
Okay.
The second E is emotionally compelling. It means that you care about it. So it has to be powerful, but if it's not something you care about, then we're not going to do it.
Mhm.
So ideally, today we were really focused on powerful and emotionally compelling, and that's
Okay.
why I wanted to generate this really long list, is because
Yeah.
I don't want to just do the first thing because you think that's what I think we should be doing.
Okay.
I want it to be emotionally compelling to you.
No, I like that, and I like that today I literally was like, I could just like sit down and cry after today. Not because it was hard, I was just like tired, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of annoyed and kind of frustrated.
Yeah.
So like anything that would make that go away was be emotionally compelling for me.
That's awesome. R stands for reachable, which
Okay.
is just basically
Yeah.
another way of saying measurable.
Right.
We want it to not be super complicated, but we do want to be able to say, yes, I met the goal.
Mhm.
And then S stands for student-centered, which is why we focused on, you know, these student actions. And we will
Yeah.
get to teacher strategy, which
Okay.
is here. But first, we want to make sure that we have something that we know, yes, our students got where we wanted them to go.
Mhm.
So let's just start with the P and the E, unless you have a question about that. Does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense.
Okay, so these are the things that you said. So I want them to know their direction, which was like clarity. I want them to have clarity about what they're doing.
Mhm.
I want them to be able to self-start. Back to clarity again. I want them to be on task.
Mhm.
I want them to interact respectfully. I want them to go to each other for help.
Mhm.
And the last one was, I want them to be confident. I want them to know where they're going. So before we talk about how we want to measure one of these things,
Mhm.
which one of these do you feel like is going to be the most powerful for your students, have a high impact on them, but also is balanced with, is compelling to you, something that you really want to work on?
One of them. I mean, with the confidence thing, I'm wondering if like being able to self-start and having clarity falls under confidence as well.
I think so. Tell me a little bit more about
So, like,
what you're thinking.
I had framed it earlier in terms of like once they get started, like once they're working on it, they feel good about it, but
Mhm.
also like the confidence that like they can get started on their own
Right.
and they can like try something
Mhm.
before waiting 10 minutes before getting their thing out.
Right.
And that like part of that involves being clear.
Right, so
as
these might be
well.
things that you can do, what I'm hearing you say is these might be things I can try to establish more clarity for them, I can try
Right.
to get them to self-start more, and that will make them more confident. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Hopefully.
Okay, so is confidence kind of like,
Maybe, I don't know. I'm
Well,
sorry.
let's- let's just try to follow that path for a second.
Okay.
And sometimes when you try to set the goal, it becomes apparent that that's not really
Okay.
what's, like, the goal is like, ugh, I don't like that goal at all, and so then we don't do it. So
Okay.
how would we measure confidence?
I don't know.
So,
Sorry. How would I measure confidence? I mean, I think I feel like it would be like the number of kids on task attempting it.
We can measure on task. On task is just
Yes.
the ability to do it. We can't really
Right.
track how they're feeling.
How they're feeling about it, right?
So one way we track feelings is by
Mhm.
doing like very simple, like non-invasive student surveys in class. So one we do for engagement frequently, but just write that now for your peers goal, just write confidence, where we don't have the